Hello Drive Radio fans, Richard Rush here today with the 2015 Subaru WRX STI version. This is not their launch edition model, which they're producing 1,000 units of, and it comes in their nice Subaru blue and their gold rims. But overall, this car is really similar with the engine. We'll get to that kind of right before the driving portion. We'll show you what that looks like. But overall, really love this car. It starts out in the this car as it sits right now is in the mid-30s. It has a little bit of the kind of the touch screen, doesn't have navigation. You can add some of those features, which once again, we're not going to get into all that. But this car itself puts up 305 horsepower. But really where you're going to find this car excels is in the handling. This car is absolutely a monster. We weren't able to get it on the track. We were able to get it on some of the mountain roads and some of the tighter roads here in Colorado. Performs great. It has 3 different modes that you can choose from. It has an intelligent mode, which is best for fuel economy, which we were able to average about that 21 to 23 miles per gallon around town. Some highway city driving. It has its sport mode, and it has a sport sharp mode, they call it, which just tunes everything, and you can even feel it in the steering wheel. It's just so much tighter. But as we kind of walk around the car, we'll see, you can see the hood scoop, which you notice that's on the WRXs. It does have an intercooler on the inside, which we'll show you when we pop open the hood, as well as a turbo. So this car, as you kind of roll off the line, the acceleration's not quite what you would expect, but then once that turbo kicks in, man, it does kick in. This does have the Brembo brakes on it, really work well. Once again, we're able to get it on a track or in that sort of a setting, but from what we were able to do legally, obviously on the roads, it works tremendously well. One thing that you have noticed, I'm sure, is the fin on the back here. As my dad mentioned in the short review, and other people have mentioned, this isn't really attractive to me. And I've never really been a huge fan of the WRXs. I've been more a fan of the Camaro kind of muscle car kind of thing. This car looks cool. You get looks going down the road, and for the money, it's hard to beat the performance of this, especially as my dad pointed out in the short review. The all-wheel drive in this car makes it honestly a car that you can drive every day in the summer, every day in the winter without any worries. The only thing we would say is take out the summer tires, put on some good winter tires for it that give it some good traction. But the Subaru all-wheel drive system and their Boxer engine, whatever they have done, works tremendously well at our altitude here in Colorado. Overall, as you kind of finish walking around the car, really do love the looks of it. It's not meant to be a comfortable car driving down the road, as you can kind of hopefully see in the driving portion. It's meant to race. This racing seat sits you in there nice and tight. It's meant to go around corners sharp. It's not meant to do kind of a luxury driving, whereas we just reviewed some of our other cars and you can go touring in those. This car meant to be on the track. That's what it's designed for. But with that being said, we're going to take a driving portion. Stay tuned. Okay fans, we're in the driving portion as we tend to start out. Here's the rear camera. It doesn't shift with your car. I'm turning the wheel right now. It doesn't shift, but really this is kind of what the cars are going to be going to. If you don't have the navigation system, they're going to put a little screen up there for the interior or for the rear view camera. But as we go through and cycle through, you can see that that's the turbo gauge. Tells you what your peak is. It gives you a lot of information up here. Your average miles per gallon, how much fuel you have left. This is your all-wheel drive screen. It shows you what wheel is doing what. So if you're spinning on the snow, you can see, or even on the track, for example. Gives you your miles per gallon based on your minutes, miles to empty, so on. Really is a great informative screen. You can customize it however you want to do different things. This portion is kind of hard to get right here, but you can see right here, you can scroll through a few options, which gives you your total trip time, you can customize different things, what S-Drive mode you're in, as well as the speed. You can see your RPMs. Overall, really it's comfortable, and you can see the steering wheel, which we try to get in the interior portion, is your basic stuff. But as we get driving, we're gonna preface this with the same thing as always. Drive these cars if you can. It's hard to show you guys from the camera what this car is like. So as we get up, this car does have, in my opinion, a great sound. It does have that nice, that throaty sound that the STIs, the Subaru, the WRXs are used to. And you'll notice as we kind of go down that it's not the most comfortable ride in the world, but it's not designed to. I wish I could show you the different drive modes and how they handle. It's hard to. What I would say is if you're interested in buying this car, make sure you go drive it. All the different features are hard to quantify in this in this, honestly, in this short 10-15 minute review that we do. Speed wise, this car is great. You can feel the turbo kick in. It feels awesome when it happens. Once again, we wish we could show you do that, but overall really did like this car. Dad, what were your thoughts kind of being the different generation of driving this car?
And I said it in the short review, this is a car that, you know, probably isn't made for me and my generation. You know, I'm 50 years old now. You know, you can tell just from driving, I'm trying to hold the camera as still as I can. You can see how much bouncing around we're doing. You know, for me, you know, bad back, etc. Probably not a car that I'm going to go out and buy on a daily basis, or drive on a daily basis, I should say. But, you know, if I was 20 years, you know, even 15 years younger, would I look at this car heavily? In fact, would I look at it now as a weekend type car, something to run around and have fun with? Yeah, most definitely. This car is a blast to drive, as I said in the short review. Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But again, this car is designed for, you know, for my son and his generation.
Yes, definitely is. This car does good. And what I would say is, for this car, for the money, you're gonna find a car that is hard to beat this specific car for the mid-30s, starting out for the horsepower performance overall. But stay tuned, we're gonna head to the interior. Okay fans, we're back from the driving portion of our review of the 2015 Subaru WRX STI. Now we're going to show you the engine. Just got done driving it, and my dad's pointing out right now, the intercooler is what that hood scoop does. It is a functional hood scoop. You can see the turbo right here. Just kind of want to show you how much they pack into this little area. This car isn't very big driving down the road, and they get a lot in here. And we're not going to go through all the features. For you car buffs out there, you can pause the video, look over everything. But once again, we highly recommend, go down and drive this car yourself. It's a fun car to drive. As with all cars, go ahead and drive them yourself. But you can just see the effectiveness of the engine right here. I mean, you have the intercooler right there, the turbo, they all work great. But as we kind of head on to the back here, one thing I will point out, it doesn't have the biggest trunk in the world, but it also doesn't have the smallest. We were able to get one large suitcase, I guess an oversized suitcase you could say, in here, as well as a smaller carry-on right here, and several other backpacks on the side. So for that, I mean, you're not really losing much, as well as the seats do fold down. So if you wanted one of the seats to fold down, or the bench seat to fold, or not the bench seat, but both of them to sit down, you can definitely do that. It really does work. And Dad, what's the name of that I'm thinking of?
Well, what I was going to say is you could actually put snowboards, things like that on the interior if you only had two people driving it.
Yeah, exactly. And skis, snowboards, whatever you're doing, especially the snow like we talked about. But as we kind of go around to the back seat here, and we'll get a little bit better for the sunlight on this side of the car. As I said before, this car isn't meant for driving around, but there is plenty of legroom in the back. There's not a whole lot of features on here. There's this suede interior right here, and on the sides it has this nice red stitching in it that really is nice. But overall, I mean, it's just kind of your normal car here in the back. It does have for the all-wheel drive, the drive shaft is right here in the middle, so whoever's sitting in the middle is going to kind of have to straddle that little hump. Not a huge deal, but just something to consider. It really is kind of a four-person car, but for you and your buddies that are going up on the weekends, great car. As we kind of head to the front, I'll let you hop in the front seat, Dad. As we get into the front seat of the car, you can see again the suede is kind of carried over, and you can see that in the front seat that it does have the racing style seats. I mean, they are designed to hold you in. Dad, you made a comment that it doesn't have much lumbar support, but to be honest, Subaru doesn't really care about the lumbar support in here, in my opinion. It's meant for racing. This car is meant to hold you in one spot, to not necessarily be as comfortable as it is. But kind of going through the cabin, it does have dual mode AC controls, which really is nice. Personally, this is nice for this car. There's not a nav system. There is a display up here which can show turbo and stuff, which we showed you in the driving portion. But overall, there's not too fancy of an interior. You have some nice, this kind of carbon fiber look. Like it is plastic, but it gives it a nice sporty feel to it. It is a manual. This is the 6-speed manual, and I would say that it works tremendously well. I know that some people aren't huge fans of manuals anymore, but to me, they really are great. But here, I will want to point this out. We did show this in the driving, but kind of so you get a better view of it, is the different, as Subaru's S-Drive, they call it, which is the sport sharp, and then the intelligent mode. You can also control the center differential to where you put the power, whether the rear wheels or the front wheels, kind of if you're going to do some drag racing, or so be it. But overall, really did like this car. The one downside would be some of the features that you get on the inside, but you're not really buying this car for that feature. Tune in to us every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. here in Colorado. If you can't catch us in Colorado, head to 560thesource.com or check us on the TuneIn app. Also, if you found us on YouTube, which is Drive Radio, no spaces, head to our website, drive-radio.com. We have the print review of all of these cars as well as the window sticker. But once again, check out all of our other reviews. We have a multitude of other cars that we review. Really encourage you to get out and drive them yourself. But once again, the 2015 Subaru WRX STI Richard Rush Drive Radio.